let's talk about class items.
Alright, I promise this will probably be the last video I make on exotic class armor. So yeah, that was a lie. Liar! A lot of people have been coming into Twitch chat lately asking what my thoughts are on the exotic class armor situation, so fine, let's talk about it, and of course, have a really
Yeah.
big argument where nothing gets solved, as is tradition. In a nutshell, here's what we're looking at, summarized as quickly as possible. Maggie, could you go ahead and give me a timer, please? Thank you. The final shape introduced exotic class items that can roll with different exotic perk combos. Each class has a grand total of 64 exotic class item combinations. Granted, not all of them are god tier combinations ideal for endgame play, but the fact remains that players have particular roles they really want for build crafting purposes, but don't have because they've been getting repeatedly dicked down by RNG. Players can spend countless hours grinding either the Dual Destiny mission on repeat or chest farming in the Pale Heart, either actively or inactively, if you know what I'm saying, and have little to show for it. Time! Perfect. New world record. So that is the current
Yeah.
situation right now. We've got this.
But like I think the problem with it is that it depends. So it's like I think like I'm a casual player for Destiny, and like just going to the Pale Heart and just mindlessly running around, just collecting chests. To me, wasn't that bad because I would get what one like every hour or so, but also I was just like just bullshit. And I just be in a party with my friends, just talking. It was a way just to do something while I was just talking. But I think the problem with the exotic class items is that they're very powerful. Okay, you get the right god roll for whatever build you're doing, like Syntheseps, Star Eater scales for a lot of these, Osmiomancy, whatever. You get all those, and you pair them with the right builds, overpowered. So you have to make it somewhat difficult to obtain. Not, you know, that much difficult that, like casual players can't get it, but like it needs to be something. So locking it behind Dual Destiny probably was one of the best things Destiny Bungie could have done, because if they didn't and people were able to solo this, people would have gotten god rolls. But then it's just like, people wanted a shake up and they got a shake up, and now they're not really liking it no more. And I get it. Dual Destiny does take like 30 minutes. It is crazy. Dual Destiny probably should be to like 15-20 minutes, but still, I mean, you wanted a shake up, you got one, now you got to deal with it.
This really unique and awesome loot on the table, but getting the exact combination you want is kind of rough. Mactix recently put up a video on the subject, and it's actually quite good. I recommend you go give it a watch. I'll quickly summarize and touch on some potential solutions he goes over, and some reactions to his video as well that I consider a bit odd, but such is the nature of sharing one's opinion on the interwebs. So the most
Wait, what did that say?
odd, but
You drive your car daily, you drive your car a lot. Do you give your mechanic advice on how to fix it? Do you send Ford mail with your ideas? No. Then why do gamers feel like they can fix games? False sense of knowledge. That's like the average TikTok. Whenever you try to be like critical about something, that's exactly what they say. Anything in general, whether it's gaming, TV,
such is the
any
nature of
medium.
sharing one's opinion on the interwebs. So the most frequent feedback I hear when the topic of exotic class item farming comes up is Bungie needs to buff the drop rate. But I don't
That's
think that's
fair.
really the main issue, you know? If you think about it, getting a guaranteed exotic drop after banging out a 20-minute
And I
mission.
and I would have said maybe like you get a higher drop rate when you're on the Pale Heart, but you can get an exotic class item from anywhere in the system. But it's a very very low drop chance. But all you have to do is just play the game, right? So like let's say you do strikes, right? Or you play Crucible, Gambit, whatever. At the end of those, you have, I don't know, 0.9% chance. But then, because I think on the Pale Heart's like a 2% chance. So I mean, like that's your drop off you're giving. Like, hey, I get to play everything else, but I can still grind for this, but it's a lower drop chance. I think that's what they should do. Um, They might be doing that. I don't know.
That's actually not terrible. And as Mac covers almost immediately in his video, even ramping that number way up, while appreciated, wouldn't really be a perfect solution on its own. Think about it. If Bungie brought back the Dual Destiny double drop glitch, which you can still do by the way, it's just a bit harder now, you'd get way more
Huh.
drops through targeted Dual Destiny farming, but you could still farm for a few hours, get really bad RNG, and get repeat drops of roles you've already been sitting on, rendering all your farm time officially worthless. I think the main pain point a lot of players I've spoken to have is that there's basically no form of anti-dupe drop protection regarding
Yeah,
the farm.
I
That
can
is
see
to
that.
say, if Bungie came out and said, hey, starting today, you'll officially never get a duplicate drop of an exotic class item if you already have that combo sitting in your vault, I think a lot of players would cram into Dual Destiny in droves trying to polish off their collections. Granted, they'd still have to do the mission a butt ton of times to get all their drops, but at least they'd know their time was being 100% valued along the way. Mactix mentions in his video that in
Mm-hmm.
addition to dupe drop protection, what would also help a bunch would be if exotic class items dropped from way more activities in the game
See,
in general.
yeah,
I think that for now, if Bungie wanted to really earn some easy brownie points with the community, dupe drop protection and a wider range of drop sources would be an absolute layup. I do have some additional ideas that I don't think would help for right now, but if any Bungie folk are quietly lurking right now watching today's video, the following could be good food for thought for future content. And as always, take it all with a grain of salt. What the hell do I know? I'm not a game dev, nor have I ever been one. I'm just a guy with a ton of playtime who likes sharing his thoughts. Considering Bungie seems to now be really running with the idea of giving us exotics that have a lot of different potential combinations, remember we now have exotic class items and ergo sum, which both have a lot of
that is
possibilities to
true.
drop with,
They're all
maybe
about
an
Ergo some.
acquisition method that leans more into the realm of what we had back in the menagerie activity. I know for a fact it's definitely way too late to think about modifying the Dual Destiny mission
That's
now.
a
Bungie
long
ain't
time
gonna do
ago.
that at this point, and I don't blame them. But imagine for a minute if the Dual Destiny mission had some kind of mechanic where you could indicate during the mission what perks you wanted on your eventual loot drop. Again, think back to the menagerie activity. You get runes, you slot them into the chalice a particular way, which tells the game, hey, this is the loot drop that I want when the time comes. And that way, you're still encouraged to run the mission, but you're also taking steps to
Yeah,
actively remove RNG from your end of mission loot drop. Now, again, probably way too late to put that kind of mechanic into Dual Destiny right now, but take that theory and apply that to future exotic missions if we're in fact getting more exotics down the pipe that have different role combinations the way ergo sum and exotic class items do. If we want to go a little further down the path of anti-dupe protection,
good.
I've always been a fan of
Oh,
Bungie's
shit.
use of completing triumphs to push the needle towards more favorable loot drops. For example, if you complete certain triumphs tied to the Salvation's Edge raid, you literally improve your chances at getting the Infinity drop,
You see,
aka the
ah, yeah, that could work. A lot of people won't be able to do that though, because rating still isn't something a lot of people can do, even with the fire team finder built into the game. So it's like that added pressure because you don't know how people are gonna act. A lot of people are like, "Oh, know what to do, this, and that." So I mean, it definitely is something that's good, and I definitely do think they probably should add something like this. But you know how people complain, whether like because like people are gonna complain. People on the internet are gonna complain like, "Oh, I can't get it," an increased drop rate because I'm a solo player. And then you're gonna have the hardcore players saying, "Oh, well, just join a fucking fire team finder and you'll be fine." And then it's just gonna be back and forth. Happens every single time. Anytime Bungie does anything in Destiny, the casual players and the hardcore players are always clashing with each other. Um, but I definitely do think. I mean, this is a good idea. Triumphs that help boost your acquisition chance, but maybe not lock up behind a raid. You know, uh, maybe don't do that because then again, like you can't get class items if you don't have the final shape. So never mind. So maybe you could. But yeah, maybe just not the
Raid
against the
exotic
raid.
linear fusion rifle. Again, if Bungie wants to keep dabbling in exotics that can have random combinations, why not tie certain triumphs to reduce the number of duplicate drops? Just to throw numbers out there, what if there were 4 triumphs total and each one gave 25%? And if you completed all 4, then you get a 100% guarantee that all future drops of that exotic will not be a duplicate roll of the one you already
I
have.
don't know how that's gonna
Don't
work
take
with
that
like
as a
coding and all
guaranteed
that, but it
solution,
could work.
just spitballing ideas out here. And on that note, I want to touch very quickly on the topic of players and content creators giving feedback in general. Shouldn't be surprising, but some people really start wilding when feedback gets thrown around out here, and I genuinely do not understand
Dude,
that.
you criticize anything, people are gonna complain. Anything, anything. You can't and it's specifically with gaming. Specific. Ooh, with like you can't criticize anything in gaming. Remember, people were saying like, "Yo, it seems like Elden Ring, uh, with the Shadow of the Earth Tree, it seems like this DLC is just difficult, just to be difficult." People are like, oh, "You're lying. You're just trash." And I mean, who's to say that that wasn't a fair criticism? Hey, it is. I mean, because I think like even Elden Ring, like the base game, had some fair criticism. But if you were to say that, people were like, "Oh no, you just suck. You're trash. Get good." It's not a
Mentality. I
fair.
feel as though as long as Mac or Datto or Cross or literally whoever is giving their own personal feedback on a particular problem in the game, as long as they're not presenting their ideas along the lines of, this is 100% guaranteed solution, and if you don't implement it, you're a fucking idiot, then I feel like it's fine. Any player in the game, no matter the size of their platform, even if they don't have a platform, is totally within their right to say, hey, there's this thing about the game that's kind of frustrating me. Maybe you could do X or Y or Z to change it. At the end of the day, Bungie's going to do what Bungie's going to do, one way or another, with or without our input. And even though there's usually a lot of salt involved, I like having these kinds of discussions. I enjoy reading through comments from
You
you
should
and
not be able to
finding
focus class
interesting
items
suggestions and
or like
ideas on what they
craft
could
them.
do
That's
to
the
potentially
dumbest thing I've
improve
ever
the game.
heard.
And on
Don't
that
turn
note,
into a. That's
please
so
let me know how you
stupid.
feel about exotic class
You're gonna have
items
to play the
on
game at
your
least a
end. Are
little
you
bit.
annoyed by the lack of duplicate protection? Do you not care? If you were to propose an idea to alleviate the pain of farming for these damn things, what would it be? Or again, maybe you don't even care at all. If so, let me know. I genuinely enjoy hearing from y'all about stuff like this. Anyway, got a few more build videos coming down the pipe, but as always, let me know what you want from me down in the comment section. Thank you all very much for watching. Peace!
That was a good video. It's a good video, but yeah, do not make class items craftable. Don't do it. Don't do it. That's so stupid. That's so stupid. That's so dumb.
Looking like Skybree, she got a body, ayy. And she been calling me daddy lately. Want me to put her in Cartier's, and the bitch deserve it. Put in work for the money she earn it. Give me top every night lip service. Then I gotta block these hoes, she worth it. I'm out in Abu Dhabi.